Chorus? Why's that?
I don't... But I think it's about the tome he wanted you to transcribe.
Saira, good to see you. I heard about what happened on Half Moon Island. It's a wonder you and that mercenary made it back alive. But war, it just seems so unreal. How has it come to this? Now we not only have to fight these High Ones, but also some fanatic who thinks he knows best? If they are, then maybe we were foolish to think that the Red Madness is the only weapon at their disposal. Tell me, Saira, how is it possible that our beliefs about what's best for mankind are so different? Why are we so eager to be at each other's throats? You know what I find so hard to understand? Why there are so few people who actually care. So few people who feel the need to change something like you and I do. There are moments I just feel so powerless. As if we all know that if we keep going like this, we're headed for a catastrophe. But instead of changing course, we just stand by and watch. Do you know the feeling? Yes, I mean, is it so hard to see that this world could be such a better place if we'd only care a tiny bit more about something other than what's happening in front of our doorsteps? You understand what I'm trying to say, don't you? You know that feeling too. I thought so. Whenever I think about it, I find it so hard not to get angry. Take all those upper city snobs with their colorful garments and exotic perfumes. They could put all that money to such good use if only they wanted to, but no, they don't, because they just don't give a damn about the poor. Sometimes I imagine going down there, grabbing one of them by the collar and dragging them down into the Undercity, and there I'd force them to see, just for once. But even that probably wouldn't help. I guess we only care about the things that directly affect us. Who fights against poverty if he's never suffered from it? No, it's not. It should be what everyone does. And once again, you've had to listen to another deluge of my whining. I guess I'm just not a person for pleasantries. Sorry. Anyway, I need to make some preparations now. Master Bartar requested my support with something, and I shouldn't keep him waiting any longer.
But that's ridiculous. We have to at least try.
Have you heard?
negotiate.
Apparently the Blue
You
Islands
know his
Coalition
demands.
sent an
There's
emissary
no
here to
basis for
Enderal,
negotiation.
despite the wars.
He has
They
not
are bold.
seen what we have
Gotta give him
seen.
that.
The writings, the Memories of the Prophet. If he just realized.
Madams,
Korik would rather
my
throw
sirs.
away his comb. That had been a mistake.
Shit.
Well, that's
What
just
took
how
you
it
so
is.
long?
Always
And where is Constantine?
Times.
That's a long story.
Sky can rain fire. Magisters never change.
And those were his final words? I can't believe it.
Simply another victim of the High Ones.
Pathlessness,
If we do not activate the
Where
beacon
is
soon,
this
he won't be
supposed
the
to lead?
last.
Oh, right. The beacon. If it's activated, we'll simply glow the red madness away, won't we? Or maybe we could, for once in all this, do something that actually makes sense and focus our resources on finding an alchemistical or thaumaturgical solution to this problem, rather than trusting in a pile of scrap metal.
Always talking rot.
Oh, by the prophet's ass! Won't you just shut up for a minute? All day long you do nothing but babble, getting on our nerves, and nothing you ever say gets any closer to a fucking solution. So why don't you just shove off to one of the bathhouses? Go torture the washerwomen with your never-ending lamentations. That would be helpful for a change.
You will take that back.
Will I? Come here and make me. I'd be delighted.
Blasphemy!
Guard your
This
tongue,
is blasphemy!
wild mage, or...
Or what? Are you gonna kill me? That's what you do best, you and your fucking order.
Silence! You are angry, Lishari Pegast, and I understand why. But in the moment you let that anger destroy this alliance, Firespark's sacrifice will have been in vain. Is that what you want? Is that what you want?
No. No, it isn't.
Good. I am tired of this endless bickering. We have a responsibility, and we will fulfill it.
Well said, Aranthio. And how exactly do you think we are going to do that? Without the sources, the beacon is as worthless as a heap of rusty iron.
The chroniclers are on it, and they will find the answer. Novice, tell Commander Aaron to join us. We need to plan the defense of the land. You, Prophet, will come to me as soon as you have recovered. Now, let us get to work.
Please, Tilo, Jorik is right. A war with Nerim? This is madness.
Prophet?
I know that
The sun be praised you've made it.
we have no choice.
Constantine.
It is all that we
He didn't deserve this.
Yes, the beacon.
It's
The
just not
beacon,
fair.
The beacon. We don't even know what this thing does, let alone if it will work. If you start a war only because of that damn machine, it means putting the lives
Someone
of
is gonna
thousands
pay for
at
it.
risk, only because of some
I'll see
vague
to that.
idea.
I have to talk to you as soon as possible. It's about the seal in that letter we found on the mercenaries in Old Rashengrad. I believe I'm onto something.
Wherever you look.
Their client is from Enderal. From Ark, to be more precise. Let's not talk here, though. Meet me in the Dancing Nomad. I'll be in the first room upstairs, right at the end of the staircase. And hurry.
Sacrifices. This is about your damn
Yes.
pride.
See you there.
Nothing else.
Hope he knows what he's doing.
Irrelevant. This madman, Koarek. He has completely reshuffled the cards. Now we not only have to deal with the High Ones, but also with him and his fanatics. However, there's also good news. You have probably seen it already. Physically, yes. And we also know how it works now, and how it can put an end to the cycle. It is easier than we thought. The beacon was constructed for one thing, to destroy the High Ones. Once reconstructed, infused with energy and activated, lit, as the Pyreans called it, it can banish the High Ones from this plane of existence. Immaterial, indeed. Essentially, they can be compared to the cold or to shadows. Omnipresent elements, yet we cannot touch them. Energy, if you will. However, there is a counterpart to each energy. Cold and fire, shadow and light. The High Ones and the beacon. Yes. Imagine a torch driving away the darkness in the moment it is ignited. This is what the beacon can do, except that the banishing will be permanent. Yes, as I said, it needs to be infused with energy before it can be lit. I take it you have noticed the 3 sockets on its base. They are what it draws its power from. Once they are filled, the beacon can be ignited and the High Ones will be undone, once and for all. At least, if the old writings are true. The only thing left for us to find out is what these energy sources are. But we are close. Give the Arcanists some more time and I will let you know if there's any news. In the meantime, get equipped accordingly. Some of the Nerimes have landed already, and outbreaks of the Red Madness become more and more frequent as we speak. Well, it's only fair to tell you. You've always been honest to me, so I will do the same. Have you ever heard of the Night of the Thousand Fires? Between 8,192 and 8,202, there was an underground movement in Kira called the Red Half Moon. They were brought into being by a group of intellectuals and philosophers who, under all the freedom of thought Saldrine granted them, started questioning the reign of the Golden Queen, and thus the Lightborn themselves. Saldrine saw himself as the god of knowledge, and accordingly he reigned his country. In Kira, no opinion is forbidden, which is why it is home to countless magic schools and universities, where people do nothing but discuss the reason for being all day long. An appealing thought if you hear it for the first time, but a cunning people isn't easy to reign. There have been more revolts and riots in Kira than bones in a graveyard, and the Red Half Moon was the worst of them. Correct, just as my son did. But other than him, they fought like cowards. Terror, dust crystals planted in the marketplaces, and assassinations, you name it. If they killed innocents, they blamed the Golden Queen, and if they killed her soldiers, they celebrated themselves as liberators. However, they never succeeded in putting her down, and neither did she in destroying them, which is why the court turned to the Lightborn for help. A division of the Holy Order led by me, a young keeper of barely 30 winters. None to be taken seriously. You know, not everywhere is the Order as present as here on Enderal, or as it once was on Narim. In Kira, we were ridiculed. I saw the Curanium keepers who served the Golden Queen. A bunch of decadent gluttons who had dedicated themselves to the court's banquets rather than to the will of the gods. They were pathetic. A moon after our arrival, we received an anonymous tip on where one of the half-moon's bases was supposed to be located, in a small coastal village. As we entered it, we were greeted by the township's elders, and the villagers themselves had gathered behind them. You should have seen how they stared at us, as if we were plunderers. I should have seen by then that something was wrong. Yes, but if there was one thing the Red Half-Moon was good at, it was sowing lies. According to them, we were nothing but butchers who executed everyone unable to recite the Revelation word for word. That's what they wanted us to think, and they did a good job at that. A veiled person here, an archer on the rooftops there. I got nervous, because villagers or not, they bested us in numbers, and they had kettled us. Then a man seemed to charge at us, and I gave the order to draw weapons. It was just the spark they needed. No, not a fight. A massacre. The villagers had pitchforks and shepherd staffs, and we had shadow steel swords, let alone the fact that we were trained warriors. I realized that I had made a mistake a split second after it started, but it was too late by then. My men, they slaughtered them all, like pigs. At the end of the day, 300 people were dead, and only 10 of them were keepers. Have you ever been in a big battle? Even if my men would have stopped, the villagers were blinded with rage and panic. No. From the moment I gave the order, it was too late. Well, what better proof of the Lightborn's cruelty is there than a division of keepers who, out of pure wickedness, slaughtered an entire village, women, children included. If the people had already distrusted us before that, that distrust had turned into hatred, and nothing could have changed that, not even the Golden Queen's heralds. We set sail back to Enderal a week later. 2 years after that, the Red Half-Moon destroyed itself due to infighting. Ironic, isn't it? I should have, yes. The Lightborn and the Grandmaster back at that time showed the compassion I wouldn't grant myself. But I learned one thing, and that is that I will never again let fears about my own life influence my decisions. What happened in Kira was the consequence of my own cowardice, and my unwillingness to give my life for a just cause. That will never happen again. What? Really? That's interesting. Provided this is true, that means that the emissaries aren't just people who fight the cleansing. They are people who fight for it too. And that also means that whoever granted us our powers and our purpose isn't an enemy of the High Ones, but a neutral party. Possibly. But we will find out all about that once we've taken care of the High Ones. Now, with the Neremes against us too, there's only one thing that matters. Resolve. We must not hesitate and allow anything to delay the lighting of the beacon any further. I beg your pardon. What? And the same goes for me? That's ridiculous. They wanted to deceive you, to sow discord. I saw the threat the cleansing posed before anyone else did. And without me, we would have never come that far. Something changed inside me since I fled from my prison. I feel it. And it is the same thing that made you a part of all this. Now, enough of this. Prophet. Yes.
A machine that can banish these items.
Huh. An arcanist, aren't you? Well, I hope your name is on the register. The last thing
Malphas's blessings.
Prophet, are you in there? Kiraj, what? Why? What have you done?
Hard times these are. Hard times.
Watch your tongue, Shari. Be glad that the blood is already dry, or else you'd be nothing but a pile of bones by now. Forgive me. I just can't believe it. Anyone but Lishari? Yes, I know, Nea. But she was a good woman. We both know that we're not involved in this. So please tell me why you and Lishari wanted to meet up here? Were the two of you close? It's been a while since there was a man at Lishari's side. So why? What? Then this bastard got wind of it. Oh, Kirash, Lishari, why the secrecy? Maybe the murderer has left a clue. We have to search. What's this? Let me see. Yes! This could be our clue. No, certainly not. But come to think about it, it doesn't really help us either. There are so many dust addicts in Ark, it would take years just to count them. Oh, by the name of the sun, I will inform the Order. Yes, you do that. But come back to the temple as soon as you're finished, all right? The Archmagister has found something out about those sources we need for the beacon, even though we paid a high price for it.
Well, me, Stu, roast pork. Anyone?
Our good pipe.
Potatoes gone.
Oh, that's just how he is.
Yeah,
Always.
that should be it.
I just don't see the fucking point.
There are.
The light fades away at the end of the day. Time done.
Oh, just where did I put it? Move along.
Huh? What do you want?
Walk blessed. It's good to see you.
Is it important?
Malfash's blessings. May your path always be even.
Sir, good evening. What?
Oh, you're here.
Ah, if it isn't the Prophet. What's wrong?
No,
You look
the Archmaster
troubled.
ordered me back. It feels good to be here, to be honest. But the funerals...
I know.
Without them, though.
Shah-Rim has already told me. I hardly knew her, but it's horrible. Different ideologies or not, she was a fine young mage, and her knowledge of the Pyreans was impressive. We need to find the ones who did this, and fast. But you probably already know that. Thank Malphus we just had a breakthrough with the beacon.
The infection.
What do you mean?
At least as far as the sockets go, yes. In the old tablets you found in old Dothugrad, there's talk of black embers, which are supposed to be some kind of energy supply for the machine.
Why? Scared you've caught it, are you?
This is what we've been asking ourselves over the past few weeks, and then it fell like a pelt from our eyes. The Pyreans were talking about the Black Pearls. Old jewels, sometimes known as Blackstones. They appeared for the first time in the Golden Era, and every self-important noble literally fought to get one in his possession. Apparently they originated from Stormwind, the old city in the heart of Arctwain. They changed owners for decades, sometimes by violence, sometimes by gold. The whole thing only stopped when the owners took note of an undesirable side effect, if you like.
Grief, his instability, that made him susceptible to the red madness in the first place.
No, at least not with any known magic, and that's what's so strange about it. Nevertheless, all of their owners eventually shared the same fate. Countess Catua from Nerim, for example, whose castle burnt down to its foundations. According to a survivor of this tragedy, she was to blame for that. He claimed that he saw her the night it happened, laughing hysterically and dancing in the dining room and summoning waves of fire all around her. She was not previously known to have any magical talent in her.
So I suppose so, yes. What do you need to know?
Correct. Plus, all of them eventually showed similar symptoms of delusion, like those possessed by the Red Madness do. A peculiar coincidence, if you ask me.
Was a fast climber, and you wasn't born into the cast like most sun priests are.
Not quite. Those
who owned the pearl tried to get rid of it, or look it up somewhere safe, and eventually they fell into oblivion. Tell him your theory, Archmagister.
Yes, of course. We believe that the stones carry energy, pure, uncontrolled magic, and that the High Ones use them for their own purposes.
Start a war that divides the entire Pyrean realm? That sounds
Correct. The pearl's magic make their owners powerful, but the High Ones befoul them, so to speak. Like a poison potion. I know it sounds odd, but the parallels are too striking to ignore. The red shimmer in the victim's eyes, the slow descent into madness, and ultimately this irrational, destructive act of violence.
For hints about the cleansing, not for the motivations of some crazed commander.
Well, I thought that maybe there's a connection between the two.
That's a question I've been asking myself since we first learned of the cycle. Who knows? Maybe they like for us to suffer. Or maybe they see us as we see ants, whose lives simply mean nothing. Or maybe the very concept of intentions is meaningless to them. That's what we think, yes. Nothing else in this world possesses that much raw power.
Which is why you will find them for us.
Yes, it makes sense.
No, because we know what we are dealing with, unlike those who fell victim to the stones. Imagine them as a powerful, magical sword. A fool won't know how to wield it and will eventually cut himself with it. A seasoned warrior, however, can use its power for his purposes. Which doesn't mean, however, that we will be careless with them. What we need is their energy. And once we have transferred that to the beacon, their shells will be useless to the High Ones. Correct.
One day.
That's right. But we don't need all of them. The beacon has 3 sockets, and that is how many of the stones we will acquire. Archmagister.
I studied the history of the pearls as a young arcanist, and I think that my notes might give you some hints as to where you should start looking. Give me until tomorrow. By then I will have prepared the relevant excerpts. Just come to me whenever you have questions.
And hurry. I take it you have already noticed this, but Nerime's troops are roaming our land and building outposts, and the Red Madness is also getting worse as we speak. Now go, Prophet. The sooner we find these stones, the better.
Hello. I do? Thought I had gotten rid of it by now. But yes, I'm originally from Nerim. Just like you, as I've heard. Oh, I don't know. Probably because I don't have very fond memories of my time there. You know, if someone would have told you 20 years ago that one day I would be the Archmagister of the Holy Order, you'd have probably laughed in his face. It's absurd just to think of it. You know, I was a slave there. Yes, you see, I was born into a traveling group of Aeterna minstrels. I never got to know my father, though, and living that way was hard. So my mother eventually decided to burn all bridges behind us and start over. Sorry, I'm babbling. I don't want to bother you with my boring stories. Well, after some days on the road, we met a traveling merchant who gave us a ride to the next village. A small one named Sildren in the Salathan forest. It seemed almost perfect at the beginning. The place was quiet, and my mother found herself a job as a weaver in the local count's castle. One day, however, the count simply stopped paying her, and, well, when she asked for the reason, he told her that we were his property from that moment on. Just like that. Why wouldn't it be? We were just a woman and a young son, and he owned both the land and the local guard. We had to serve this Creo, that was the count's name, for 9 years. It was horrible. No one. We weren't the only slaves he kept, and the villagers were too afraid to do anything. As for Chancellor Baratheon's armies, well, I'd be surprised if they even knew Sildren existed. Pure luck, I suppose. One day, an Enderalian merchant and his escort passed through the village. They were on their way to Waverock to catch a ship from there. And just by coincidence, he saw me crushing some herbs I had found in the forest. That's what I did in the little spare time I had, you know. The Salathan forest is so incredibly rich with plants you have no idea. What I didn't know was that I had found an entire sheaf of God's tongue. That impressed the merchant so much that he simply bought me. He left her there. Believe me, what he did had nothing to do with mercy. He just saw that there was money to be made off of me. I cried and protested, of course, but 2 months later, our ship arrived in Ark, where he got infected with flesh maggots and died shortly thereafter. Luckily enough, he was a sublime. And since his relatives didn't know what to do with me once he was dead, they simply asked the Order to grant me the novitiate, which they did. By the left path. Sounds crazy when I tell it like that, and it probably is. But back then, it just happened.
There you are.
I tried, but as you can imagine, my obligations made my options to do so very limited. Only recently, however, word reached me from a mercenary whom I sent over. According to him, Creo is dead, and his castle was deserted. But who knows if he just said that to appease me. I think when all of this is over, I might ask the Grandmaster for permission to travel there myself. And then, who knows? By the righteous path, now I really am babbling. I am sure a man like you has better things to do than listen to the stories of a boring old chronicler. I should probably get back to business. Forgive me.
And you wasn't born into the cast like most sun priests are.
Wait, so you're saying he was no
Hello.
builder by blood, and yet he made it to their
Well, finding out about the Blackstones was definitely a great step forwards. But still, we're left with a myriad of questions. Sometimes I feel pathetic, to be honest. Like a child, asked to understand the functioning of a Starling airship.
Why? Well, you know, usually pragmatists are mainly concerned with themselves. Start a war that divides the entire Pyrean realm? That sounds... It's more like fanaticism to me. Like something an idealist would do.
Yes, probably.
There you are.
The fable.
I've been looking for you.
Why's that?
I don't know, but I think it's about the tome he wanted you to transcribe.
Ah, I thought... Well, never mind. But by the way, have you seen this new Merimese mage woman? Pegaст,
Yes.
Move along.
Hello. Walk blessed.
Yes, it makes sense. Pathlessness wherever you look. Where is this supposed to lead?
fabled prodigy. I hope you can live up to.
There you are. Walk blessed. Do you have a moment?
Ah, greetings. Of course. What do you need?
The Archmagister
What?
ordered me to find out more about the Pyrean Civil War.
Yeah, as if.
The one that took place shortly before the cleansing.
Hello.
That's your area.
Ah, yes. Here. There they are. I've marked the most relevant parts so you don't have to read the entire book. Just see if they tell you anything that could give you a clue as to where you should start searching. I will be waiting at the beacon.
Easy. Only what's written in the old lore. He was a fast climber, and he wasn't born into the cast like most sun priests are.
Wait, so you're saying he was no Dilger?
Rena Shalom, Prophet. I greet you.
Yes, because he
Is
was
it
a...
not? Remind me not to burst
Necessary to
into
gain
tears.
influence and power. He did it.
Yes? Have you found any of the stones yet?
That doesn't go along well with the fact that he started
Yes,
this
that
war
just
against
might
the
work.
Idiot.
Why?
Well, you know, usually pragmatists are mainly concerned with themselves. Start a war that divides the entire Pyrean realm? That sounds more like fanaticism to me. Like something an idealist would do.
Yes, probably. But maybe something happened that caused a change of heart in him.
My thoughts exactly. Any idea what?
No, nothing. But I'm not certain I understand why this is so important to you. The Grandmaster
What?
wants us to examine the Pyrean history for hints about the cleansing, not for the motivations of some crazed commander.
Well, I